And now, here to give the presentation for the award for something, Miss Laura Dale!
Hello and welcome back to the annual podcast awards. The award we're about to award today, the awards that we're awarding, is the award for most non-straight, positive and nice podcast made by people that you have not yet met. And the award goes to Queer and Pleasant Strangers.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magna. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. You know what it is at this point. We've done 25 of them?
It is, we've reached our quarter century.
Yeah, we do a bunch of silly skits and voices and catch up on our weeks, and that's the thing what we do. How are you this week?
I'm quite squishy.
You're quite squishy?
Quite squishy.
I'm a little bit obsessy, so I'm gonna slightly rotate the mic. I don't know if you heard me do that. I'm rotating the mic because I saw that it was not rotated correctly.
Rotate your mic. Rotate your mic.
That's the kind of week I'm having. I'm like, can't line up my microphones. Ooh. It's been a week this week.
It's been very busy.
It's been very busy, very sleepy. I feel like I have lived through years and years this week.
You've had a busy one. You've had lots going on.
It has been lots. I did lots of book writing because I couldn't write the book for a few months, and then suddenly my brain went, book!
You remember that book you were struggling with?
That book that you couldn't work out what to write for 2 months? Here's 3-4 months of book. Write it in half a week. Write
it down now.
Write it down now. It's all here.
Okay, brain, I'm sorry.
Write it now before you never write again. It's been a week. Should we talk about what we played? We played some stuff this week.
We usually start with play, so let's play some things.
Let's play some things. We played a lot of board games.
We did play some board games.
I didn't write down which ones we played, so I'm going to rely on you for this.
We played Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill?
I think House on Haunted Hill is another thing.
Okay, Betrayal at House on the Hill.
I think it's the House on the Hill. I now need to Google it.
I think there are two separate games with very similar titles that I always conflate them into one title.
Betrayal at the House on the Hill. House on Haunted Hill is a film.
Okay, I get this board game and that film conflated.
Actually, because they remade it.
Yeah. So, yeah, how would you describe this board game, tabletop game that we played?
It's a horror game... styly. It's basically a horror film, or a series of horror films, essentially. Yeah. You start off in a mansion house, which is generated as you explore the rooms. So you will start with a lobby, a hallway, and a flight of stairs that lead up to the upstairs area. And as you go through the unassigned doors, any unblocked door you can get through and attach a new room from a pile of mysterious hidden rooms. Which means that I suppose you get a lot of replayability. There'll be different things about which rooms cropped up. Although when we were playing, we did end up getting rather almost creepy tie-ins between the sort of events things we were picking up, and the cards that we were putting down.
There's a couple of differently randomly shuffled decks. You've got a deck of room tiles that you shuffle up and you don't look at. You've got these event tiles that you shuffle up and don't look at.
And the omens.
And when you go into these rooms, you'll sometimes trigger an event or an item or an omen. And just through sheer luck, we kept having things that coincided with where we were. So we'd turn over the room tile for the chapel. And then, it triggered an event. Let's pull an event card. Oh, you're in the chapel. It's ooh, this is a bit spooky.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of that sort of just seemed to tie together. That was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, you are gathering omens and items to sort of power up yourself or sort of prepare.
Yeah.
But it means that these haunting rolls get more and more difficult. And once the haunting roll is hit over a certain number, then the haunting begins.
Yeah.
And based on what the last omen picked up was, and which character and where, Or I think it was just where and what item.
I think
what omen.
Yeah, I think it was like partially dependent on who was the last person to go. Then it was like the room you discovered the final omen in and what the final omen was.
And that will direct you to a scenario.
Yeah, one of like
that you will
50?
play out. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the game's kind of split into two phases. You've got the first phase, which is you've got all your characters, they've got speed, which is how many rooms per turn you can move, strength, which is your combat ability, then intelligence and sanity, I think, are the two
Something like
mental
that.
skills. And you're sort of going through trying to like get items to protect yourself and beef up your skills and try and like not take too much damage and build yourself up a bit.
Mhm.
And then you trigger the haunt. And this is basically what horror film are you about to have to try and survive?
Mhm.
So for our example,
We
it
ended up
was
with a Saw movie.
yeah, we were basically in a Saw movie. We had like collars around our necks that were going to decapitate us, and one of the people at random was turned into a traitor, and it was like, oh yeah, one of those people is actually like the mastermind of all of this, and their collar's not going to kill them, and we had to work out how to find some keys to survive.
Ooh. 2 keys per collar.
Yeah, like some of them work differently, but generally, whenever the haunt starts, at least one person will become a traitor. Sometimes you'll know who that is, sometimes you won't know who that is. They will have slightly different objectives to the heroes, and then you start playing against your friends to try and be the team that wins.
Yep.
Like, we looked at one where it was like the traitor controls a banshee that can't be killed and runs around screaming at things, and you have to exercise it.
Exercise it because nobody likes a lazy banshee.
Yeah, it took us a little bit of like working out, but once we got through a game, I think we all sort of understood more what we were doing. And there does seem to be a lot of replayability to it.
Yeah. I mean, like, you get any one of those 50 scenarios, it's good that there's a lot of expansion, and obviously the fact that the rooms could be laid out in any number of ways, and where you end up doing secret passages between, because obviously there was the coal chute that I found initially was the only sort of serious way down into the basement.
Yes, and you'd get injured as you did so.
Yeah, and then there was like, we had to move on to something else that eventually I think we found a proper flight of stairs to get up there.
Yeah,
someone triggered a secret staircase up to another
We
floor.
had a magic elevator that just like kept popping up in different places for a
I
while.
didn't get a lot of use, but it did seem like an interesting thing to have.
Yeah, well, it got us down to the basement when we had no reliable way to escape the basement. That
That's
was
true.
fun. Yeah, it was a fun game.
It really was, and I hope to play that again sometime.
You need a lot of table space to lay out all these rooms.
Yeah, I'm really glad I extended the table before we had people come over.
Yeah, once we played it, we got a sense of like, oh, you need room for like 3 different expansive floors.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good fun game.
Yeah, definitely. Would play again, 10 out of 10.
What else did we play? We played some of Lords of Waterdeep.
We did. We played 5-player Lords of Waterdeep. That was good.
It definitely had a different pace to it with 5 players.
Yeah, because you only start with 2 agents instead of, I think it was 4 in 2
Yeah,
player.
each player gets to do considerably less with their turn, but there are a considerably larger number of people competing over resources, so it becomes more frantic, and the quests that you do complete you have to make them more worthwhile, I think.
Yeah, I think we did alright there. I won that one in the end.
Yeah.
Which was good.
I think we all were within about 15, 20 points of each other. Like,
Yeah, it was pretty close.
It was a pretty close fight. Everyone sort of picked up what they were doing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I find like Wizards of the Coast generally write instructions pretty well, and the quality of the board and the cards and everything are really good in there as
Everyone
well.
was very impressed with the very organised box.
Very nice box, very nice for organising.
Yeah. But it was a nice, easy game to teach. Like, we didn't have too much difficulty explaining that one to new people.
I mean, it helped. That was the one that I sort of read in about 20 minutes and then set everything up from like a previously unopened box. It was quite the opposite of Legendary Encounters.
Yeah,
Sitting there 3 hours later going, what the fuck?
Betrayal at House on the Hill was a little more complicated because it had so many variants of what could happen. Like, the whole... Like, oh yes, we had 3 different instruction booklets to work through.
Yeah. But we did alright.
Like, having to... The first time we tried to do one of the haunts in that I got confused and I missed one of the many instructions of how you pick how the haunt starts. We were reading, like, as the heroes, oh, and you use this ring to do this thing, and we were like, the villain has the ring, how did we get the ring? We were also really unlucky in that the first proper haunt we did, the Saw one, is miswritten in the book.
Yep.
We went on forums looking for, like, this makes no sense, what's going on, and we found a post by the person who wrote that particular haunt saying, hey, so, like, when I wrote this, it said this, and the editor clearly changed it and it now makes no sense. This is what it's meant to be. So if you ever play haunt number 38 in Betrayal at House on the Hill...
check out Board Game Geek, because there is a proper thread on how it's supposed to work.
Basically, it says use the hexagonal item tiles in 2 different points in the description. The second one is meant to say purple monster tiles, not hexagonal item tiles.
Yep.
So, when you get confused being like, they're already on the board, how do we deal them out to players?
How do?
You don't.
Nope.
So yeah, what else did we play?
We played a few rounds of Bucket of Doom.
Ooh, have we talked about Bucket of Doom on here before?
We have, only a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, Bucket of Doom continues to be a fun multiplayer game to play, like, as the night's winding down.
You know what I say? Sometimes you have to butt chug Special Brew.
Sometimes you have to butt chug Special Brew.
And that's how I won.
Yeah, so what were you... Oh, was that when... The scenario was something like you're the back end of a human centipede and you used your 4-pack of Special Brew and you're like, I'm going to butt chug it so I don't have to, like, experience this.
Yeah.
It's a good, fun, silly game.
Yeah.
Maybe not this week, but you know what I've thought previously would be a fun thing to do with this to do on this podcast at some point? Draw out a couple of Bucket of Doom cards, and we both answer, like, what we think our best solution is, and then we let the audience perhaps decide which one was the better one.
I see. Are we using the prompt cards from the deck as well?
I think so.
Okay,
I think maybe sometime we do that on the show. If
I'd be into that.
Yeah, and then
we could also just stream some Bucket of Doom.
We could also just stream some Bucket of Doom and just let the chat be like, Twitch chat, who was funnier?
Yeah, that could be a thing. Do that one night.
Yeah, Bucket of Doom's still good. Anything else?
I streamed some Basingstoke. I had a go at that streaming malarkey.
You did pretty alright, I reckon.
It did feel rather like paddling to keep above water. There's a lot to keep an eye on at first. There were a few things that I messed up, like listening back to the VOD. There was something I picked up that I just goofed on entirely because I was trying to run through a list that I have. It's just rote memory. And it's like, that list needs to be updated. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do that better next time. So I apologise for that. And I need to learn to read out what is being said in chat rather than just responding to it.
Yes, you did a couple of times you would read a thing in the chat and answer it, but then obviously on the VOD people can't see what was asked.
No.
But you did really well for your first stream, like.
And I misspelled Basingstoke.
Solo streaming is a really hard thing to do because you have to basically learn how to just, like, verbally talk to yourself and keep a conversation going, and that can feel really weird and awkward.
Well, I used to Let's Play stuff before.
Yeah.
Like, a long time ago. That's all long since been deleted off my channel because it was really bad. And nobody wants to see, like, me doing 36 episodes of a really impressive Minecraft map. No, it wasn't good.
Once upon a time, that would have been, like, a very popular thing. I think now you've got to do a very popular series of Fortnite Let's Plays.
Oh, no, I'm not out to be popular. I'm just out to entertain myself. And if anyone else gets entertained along the way, then I'm happy about that.
This is the best way to do content.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched as much of the stream as I could live, and then I watched the rest as a VOD. You did a really good job. A really good, entertaining stream.
Thank you. I had fun, and it was nice that some of the people that watched hung around after the stream and gave me some nice feedback, which was good.
Yay! If people want to check out the VOD, where can they do so?
They can find that on my YouTube channel, which is Maniac Janiac.
Woo!
What else? You played anything?
Oh, I played.
You've been playing some more Fortnite.
I've played a bit more Fortnite. I'm excited. Last week we talked about the fact that, like, Fortnite needs, like, a good training mode or something. By the time that this episode goes out, it sounds like Fortnite is going to have a mode in which you can just drop onto a basically empty map and pick up loot and try building things and shooting guns and mess around and go, oh, I see.
Will that be in all versions, or...?
I believe that's going to be in all
That's
versions. It's part of the Battle Royale, and like it seems to be pretty feature complete across every version, so
Cool.
should be able to do that soon.
Ooh.
I played some of the demo on Switch for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Mm-hmm.
That game continues to be adorable, and we need to play some of it together because it's got co-op and it looks super cute. But little Toad can't jump. He's got to go save the world. Got to go get some treasure to give to Mario, but he can't jump. He can't fight.
Are he and previous generations of Link related? Cannot jump.
Well, this one also cannot fight, so not much like Link. No attack, no jump. Just go find treasure and give to Mario because Mario needs treasure to go save people. He's adorable. You playing anything else?
No.
Well, I guess I'll talk about the last thing I played, which is Pokemon Go. That's got trading in it since last week.
Yeah.
Doing some of that.
So you're running the Mafia now.
I'm running the Mafia. I have very legitimately, I am in high demand because I have many of those region exclusives.
Hey kids, you want a Kangaskhan?
Yeah, I met some lovely people this week who play like very locally to where I live, which is nice. We, we did some raids. I caught the new legendary. I've been trading gifts with people, building up levels to get that legendary that I missed during the month that we moved. I'm having a good time. I'm back into Pokemon Go, which has been fun. I think that's everything we played.
Inside the boardroom of Electronic Actisoft.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. So, we're looking at this new, Battle Royale game. We're thinking about calling it 15 Days Royale. Because, it's one better than that other thing.
I see. So, I've been a little bit out of the loop recently. Can you fill me in? What's the payment model? How are we going to monetize this Battle Royale game? It's what all the kids are playing.
Well, the thing that's really going around at the moment is Battle Pass. So it's like a limited time thing. You get access for, say, a month in this case. And then, at the end of the month, you take it all away and you make them buy it again.
That's brilliant. Talk me through this Battle Pass.
Well, we've our Battle Pass is something really special. We think it's really going to fleece our customer base, like as much as possible. So what we've got here is we're selling a Battle Pass that allows you access to loot boxes for 30-day periods. The loot boxes not opened within that time will expire. So, at the end of the Battle Pass, if you've not opened any of them, they all go. They're all gone. That's it. That's all. And you gotta buy it next month and try and do it all over again. And then, within the loot boxes, there is a limited chance to get one of 500 shiny puzzle pieces that will allow you access to a special shop where you can purchase extra special DLC. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to send some of this DLC to a couple of the big streamers, get people really hooked on the idea of collecting all these puzzle pieces. Yeah, but we're only going to put out 499, and there is a possible of getting duplicates of the same one, and they're not going to be tradable at all.
This is brilliant. Please tell me you've got more to this.
Well, that's basically it, but we are thinking that, that we want to make sure that the streamers are seen as being all capable of having all this stuff that's really deeply desirable. Get that real sort of keeping up with the Joneses going on. We really got to sell it, and we're particularly marketing this at kids, because they're particularly vulnerable to our psychological marketing, and the way we're doing this, it's a real badge of honor, and obviously they all want to look cool.
This is brilliant. I expect to have the finished business model on my desk on Monday. Thank you very much. This is brilliant. Wonderful. Particularly enjoy all the manipulating children into the spending money they don't have.
Yeah. We're gonna fleece them. Last time on Mundane Office RPG, you had fought a dragon. That was your boss, and left it to sleep. You are currently armed with a stapler and the Jones Report?
I think it was the Jones Report.
Probably the Jones Report. Anyway, so You are looking to leave for lunch on time. You are approached by a colleague who looks like they might be about to slap some work on you. Roll sneaky.
Okay, roll sneaky. I've got a +1 in sneaky. So that's, minus
minus
4.
3.
So it's only a -3 because of my +1 in sneaky.
Okay, then you are going to take a hit there. That's your colleague approaches you, and they dump a good couple of files worth of work on you and demand that it be done as soon as possible. You don't mind, do you, dear?
Can I try and be forceful to say no? Actually, it's my lunch break. I'm supposed to be going.
You've got -2 in forceful.
I know I have -2,
try.
but it's the only thing I can think to do right now. It's actually, alternatively, could I do my +2 in quick to try and run away before they noticed that I was definitely there? So perhaps they'd put them on the desk, and I'm just like, no, I never saw her. I was already out on my lunch break.
Okay, go, roll it.
I'm rolling the +2. +3, that's +5 on quick.
Okay, that is a massive success, and I'll allow you to create a new aspect if you want.
The aspect of
sneak away.
Do not disturb notice on my desk.
Cunning, out of office. We'll call it out of office. Okay, so you've managed to avoid the annoying colleague and left for work roughly on time.
Even if there is a big pile of paperwork on my desk to come back to later.
Yep. You head towards the local sandwich shop. And there's a big queue.
How do I deal with this? Can I try the sneaker roll again to try and no. I can't really do that, can I? Can I try and be clever? In order to perhaps suggest that I put an order in earlier and be like, yes, have you got that order ready for me? And then they'll be flustered and have to let me have my order.
Okay, yeah. Roll.
Plus clever.
Roll clever. Yeah, I'll let that.
Go on. +3 in clever. Okay, so that's a 1, so +4.
That's a 4. Okay, yep. You successfully managed to get your. What are you having?
I'm having a meatball sub.
A meatball sub. Very nice. Okay. As you come out of the sandwich shop, you notice that there seem to be a large number of school children around. It's obviously that it is the summer holidays. But it turns out they're all actually goblins. And you still only have a meatball sub, a stapler, and the Jones report. So how are we going to deal with this horde of goblins?
Okay, can I be really, over the top and dramatic and go and, hold up the stapler and go, "This is the stapler of Carthal! You shall not defeat me!" And, try and make them think that I'm big and scary and flashy.
Okay, roll flashy.
That's a -1. I dropped 1 dice. I'm going to roll the whole handful. There we go. Okay, so that's -1 and -2.
Okay, so it's -2. You are overwhelmed by the goblin forces.
They are not
knock
impressed.
you viciously and take your meatball sandwich. Roll to escape back to the office.
What kind of roll would this be?
I think you're gonna have to sneak away. There's a lot of them.
Okay, a 0.
Okay, so you successfully managed to get away, but you've now lost the Jones report as well.
Oh no!
Yep.
It was a digital one. Can I print out another copy?
Did you save it?
I'm sure I probably did before printing
Roll
it out.
clever to see if you saved it.
Okay, +3, that's... Okay, +3, +2, +5!
Okay, so you definitely saved it. In fact, you have a spare copy. In fact, you haven't even closed it yet. It's still open on your machine, back at the office. Okay, you find when you get back to the office that you've somehow lost your security pass to get back into the building. How are you going to get around that?
Can I sneak in by following someone else in, while the door's still open, just walking very close behind them?
Okay, roll sneaky.
Okay, +1. And that's a 0?
That's yeah. You get in, but the security guard notices you. But because you're sort of friendly with the security guard, they let you in. Just at that moment, there is an absolutely titanic crash, and a large feline creature comes and attacks you.
What do I roll to defeat the feline creature?
Tune in next week to find out. So, what have you put in your eye holes?
What have I put in my eye holes? Not a huge amount this week. I watched the remaining half of Voltron season 6.
Still good?
Yeah, still good. Last time I watched it, I just finished watching, like, as I said, like, here's a cute little, not super connected D&D episode they're doing. That's really sweet.
More D&D episodes and things.
And then it just, like, ramped the hell up and was like, drama, things are happening, subterfuge, the plot twist,
Ooh, the subterfuge.
Yeah, it continues to be, like, that show catches me off guard and does... It takes a lot of narrative risks and is willing to expect a lot of... It's willing to trust its audience to understand the jumps it takes, more so than I expect out of what is primarily an animated kids show.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point with Voltron where I want to start comparing it to things like Avatar, in terms of, like, it's a children's show, but, like, it's doing a good job of, like...
You mean the last end of Airbender or the one with the blue aliens?
The Last Airbender.
Gotcha.
I want to start comparing it to, like, Avatar The Last Airbender in terms of, like, this is a kids show that's, like, punching above its weight. Like, it's doing good. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Nice.
You watched anything?
I watched Oddballs episode 2 on the Roleplay channel, Me JP. So they are continuing their I knew you said D&D, but it's not. It's Tales from the Loop campaign.
One of those tabletop things. Tabletops are all D&D, right?
No, not all
See,
tabletops are
these dice we have here, that's for D&D, right?
No, they're fudge dice. They're for playing Fate with.
Are they called fudge dice?
Yeah.
I never knew that the dice in Fate were called fudge dice.
Apparently so, but you cannot eat them. No, eat the fudge.
You called them fudge dice. What? No?
You can nibble one, but you'll probably hurt your teeth.
Okay, I will put them back down.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really good. That's really ramping up as an interesting story. So it's basically a bunch of sort of mid-teens, and there is strange things going on in their town. They found this weird hole. And there seems to be some sort of dimensional issue, and they have these weird balls, these odd balls, you could say.
Yeah.
And I think Jesse's doing a really good job DMing. I don't know if he's ever DM'd before, but I'm quite enjoying what he's come up with. I'm really curious to know where the story's going. There is another episode that I haven't still seen yet, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's been really good. What else you watch?
The only other thing that I feel like mentioning, we continued watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I just wanted to give a really big shout out to that very good episode about bisexuality that we watched. That was like,
I had a cry.
Yeah, it was a very well written episode.
Yeah, it was a sad ending, but
it was nice to see the primary character of that episode deal with feelings and be open. And it was really nice just watching all the character interactions that went on there. It was a beautiful episode. Yeah, that's in season 5 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's a really good bisexuality episode.
Yeah.
What about you?
I watched a Let's Play of Interplay's Lord of the Rings Volume 1 by Under Albert on YouTube.
Is this that game that you want to do a stream on?
That game
I
keep talking about doing a stream of. I have many complicated feelings about it. It holds a very special place in my heart. It's one of the few games, one of the very first games I got super into. And at first I was like, I'll do the original version because it's less broken than the enhanced version. Yeah, I know that makes no sense. The enhanced version is differently broken to the original version, which is also a little bit broken in places. But then I remembered that the original version actually, I think almost as a form of copy protection, had most of these sort of long text sections as bits written in a book, almost like a choose your own adventure. So you'll get to some character and it'll be that you enter the thing and they have this big thing to say, and you ask them a question, and then they go, now please look at paragraph 34. And you look it up in the book and it's this long sprawling bit of really important text, or just Tolkien waffle. And I was like, okay, so that doesn't make for terribly good viewing, if I'm, if people are staring at a thing that just says, "Now read page 34," while I just waffle on for 10 minutes in a slightly Tolkien-esque fashion. Okay, yeah, we found the letter from Gandalf. Okay, apparently we've only had half of it. There's more to come. I need to go and do another mission to get that. It was quite interesting seeing, a few bits that I hadn't ever seen before.
Yeah.
I've obviously completed the game, but I've never really understood that the characters particularly leveled up. I just assumed they stayed the same shitty level the whole way through the game, but apparently they do level up if you do certain things. Which obviously I'd just sort of done in the course of things. But a few years ago I worked out a thing and I'd speed run it a few times.
Yeah.
So, I obviously wasn't getting the most out of it, and I hadn't really been exploring all of Moria, because Moria's a pain in the arse with so much fighting and many, many trolls. and bits that just really don't make any sense in the... There are bits that sort of happen in the game, and then if you're playing the enhanced edition, it's got, interspersed scenes from the rotoscoped cartoon, which don't match up with what you've just played. It's like, this is really confusing. But at least it's got Tom Bombadil in it, which very few things bother having in.
Oh, don't you just love old games?
I do. But I probably, having watched that now, probably won't end up streaming that. But I might play it again for fun, so...
Well, one of these days, the one that I always keep saying I'm going to play one of these days is the 1994 version of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I will one day get that up and running and do a stream.
Where is Carmen Sandiego?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
I don't know that one.
That's the version I know.
Carmen Sandiego, Carmen Sandiego, where on earth can she be?
That's not my Carmen Sandiego.
That's
Hashtag not my Carmen Sandiego.
Nice.
What else are you? What?
That's all things I've watched.
That's all things I've watched too. Welcome today, everyone, to the Pantomime Group Society Committee meeting, and we need to pick a pantomime to do this year. It has. I have been having a bit of a thought recently. I just wanted to bring up. There's quite a few problematic things in pantomime, so I just wanted to go through a few and see if we could pick one that, doesn't have any of that nasty stuff in it.
Well, yes, absolutely, Lovey. And as I would have said to Sir Ian McKellen, it's terrible that there are so many negative stereotypes, be they gender stereotypes or classist stereotypes that just occur very, very regularly in pantomime. And as we later mentioned to Sir Patrick Stewart, it was the sort of thing that's just not terribly appropriate, and so we need something that's a little bit more woke.
Oh, as the kids are saying, yes. So, initially I thought a little bit about Sleeping Beauty, but then there's obviously that whole issue of non-consensual kissing of a person who's asleep.
Absolutely inappropriate, Lovey. Absolutely inappropriate.
Indeed. So, next I thought about, what about Aladdin? And then I thought, there is the downside that Aladdin in that happens to misrepresent who he is in order to get someone to fall in love with him, which is really not okay.
No, not okay at all.
And then a lot of the ones I had down on the shortlist, they have the whole concept of pantomime dames, and that's just a bit transphobic and nonsensy.
Yes, we don't like that at all, Lovey. Not at all.
So I have a suggestion. I want to see whether you're on board.
Do
with
tell.
I think perhaps the wokest pantomime we could do would be Robin Hood. Because, at least then, if we do Robin Hood, we're teaching children that stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, basically down with capitalism and up with socialism, is a very positive thing to aspire to. I think that's a good lesson for our children.
I think as long as we can find some way to rework Marion so that she's not some sort of damsel in distress throughout this, I think we could probably do something.
Wonderful. I think this is a very productive meeting.
Absolutely, Lovey.
Indeed. Wonderful. Can't afford a new home because of the fucked up housing market?
Absolutely.
Well, try imagining a house.
I have aphantasia.
Well, other than you, person over there, imagine a house.
Oh, A house!
Yes,
There it is.
indeed.
In my mind, like a picture.
This is the solution to the housing crisis, because your mind is literally the only part of this planet that the government don't get to arbitrarily decide is their personal property because of reasons. So, if you can't afford a home, create a home in your mind, the one place that is not owned by somebody.
Oh no, due to all my neuroses, I've got somebody knocking on the door to try and claim back the house. They're wondering how I got it for free.
No!
Oh no, I'm destroyed by my own neuroses. Have you listened to...
What have I listened to?
What have you listened to?
Oh, well, I listened to the first episode of Dames and Dragons.
Ooh.
You got me into that. I'm going to start listening to another
Another
gosh
dang real play
podcast. Not much more to say about it right now, other than yes, I'm enjoying this group of people. They are amusing. I enjoy their style of banter and their voices, and I do not have time in my life for this. You've given me another thing to listen to.
Apologies, but it is a really good show.
What have you been listening to?
Well, I'm slightly further on, but I am still listening to Dames and Dragons. I think I've got to the end of the third arc. Really enjoying it so far. But I know I'm running out because they've just mentioned Christmas just gone, which means that I'm probably running out of episodes since there's I think it's a bi-weekly show, so got to catch up. Hopefully by the time I finish that, there'll be some new episodes of what was the other one?
The Adventure
Maidens.
Adventure Maidens. Let's go down the list. Be like Adventure Zone, Dice Funk, Adventure Maidens. Which one are we on about?
Yeah, I've still got last week's Dice Funk to listen to.
Yeah, we got about halfway through, didn't we?
We did. We got a bit distracted. Yeah. So you listen to any other thing?
I listened to a lot of My Chemical Romance this week because, as I mentioned at the start of the show, I didn't write anything on that book I'm meant to be writing for like 2 months, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, I have book words. And my go-to music for writing recently has been, I'll just stick on the My Chemical Romance album 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, just because I know it so inside out, I can sort of mentally tune it out, but use it to like tune out the other noise that I don't have, like staticky noise going on. It's useful to have a thing that's louder than all the other sources of noise, but I know well enough that it doesn't take up brain space to listen to. So I've listened to a lot of 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. The Jet Set Life Is Gonna Kill Ya is still just like, such a good track. Like that track. What about you?
We listened to the Prince Fatty Dubs album yesterday.
I remember very little of that.
It's very chill, very dreamy,
Very slow.
nice, slow. Well, Dubs is quite a slow musical genre anyway.
Yeah.
And there's something very dreamy about Dubs, but the Dubs version of Insane in the Brain on that album is a little bit more pacey and really good. If you fancy a bit of Dubs, that's an option.
I need to listen to a bit more of that, because what I heard of that was just very chill and what I needed in that moment.
Yeah, that was kind of the point. Any others?
So I got a couple of new tracks to listen to this week.
Ooh.
There's a track called 4 AM by Mathematics. It starts off as quite a mellow track. It's a track about like quite a messy breakup where the drunk ex basically keeps calling the person who's doing the singing to go on about how much better their life is now and how angry they are at their ex. And the way that the track is paced is it goes between this very like mellow, I'm just kind of tired of all of this, that I keep getting all these drunk calls, into like a much more energetic rock section in the choruses where it's like, okay, the drunk call is happening. I'm a bit more like angrily fed up now that this is going on. And it just like switches back and forth between those two paces in an interesting way. So, yeah, that was an interesting one. You listen to anything new?
Nothing new, but in the theme of your 4 AM, we listened to 9 AM by OGP, which is a classic 90s dance track. I don't know if you remember that. We were listening to it's a very classic track with a vaguely pitch bendy guitar soundy riff in it, I think it was actually played on a keyboard, but I used to know someone that does play it on.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's got a really nice hook to it, and just that sort of nice driving early 90s dance music beat that is very common.
I don't remember that one either, but I was very sleepy. It sounds nice. I'll give it a listen now. I'm a bit more awake, if you like. Sounds good.
If you like. What else you got on your list?
I got one other, and it's not a new track. It's just one that came up on my Spotify recommended, and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't listened to this in a while. So it's called I Know This by Rachel Kahn.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it because it was the weather track on Welcome to Night Vale, sort of near the beginning. It's the I Know This. This I know. It starts a little bit like that. It's got a femme vocalist. It's got an almost like it's got like a bongo drum sort of beat under it. It feels like it's got a kind of free-form jazz vibe to the way that it's put together. But it's just this really interesting sort of spoken word kind of spoken word vocal track about trying to understand people and our place in the chaos that is the world, and it makes some nice, interesting observations that I enjoy. So it's one of those, I'm pretty sure if you heard it, you'd go, oh yeah, I've heard this. I quite like it. So that's that one. You listen to anything else?
My last one, I listened to a track off the Killer Instinct soundtrack.
Oh, I remember you put this on while we were doing...
Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
Yes, it was the good, like, this living room of board games is now haunted track.
Yeah, because it was getting more haunted and we're heading towards the haunting, and I thought, you know what, I really want to listen to Tooth and Claw, which is Saberwolf's theme from that game and from the original Killer Instinct. It's such a good track. It's got a real sort of almost Toccata and fugue feel to it, but much more like upbeat, and then obviously you've got all the sort of the laugh, the creaking doors, and then obviously you've got Spinal laughing at the end.
So I was listening to this, and the way I wanted to describe it at the time is it feels like a metal band doing a cover of a song from Castlevania, and then that being used as the intro to a like late 80s, early 90s cartoon about a haunted house. Like, it's like metal cover of Castlevania turned into children's cartoon intro.
It's got almost a really nice sort of driving pace to it. It's I think something about the way that the violins play in that just really sort of give you a sort of like,
it's like
stand up straight,
go, deal with the haunted house,
deal with the thing, and yeah, it's I'm not really sure how to do it. It's quite inspiring music.
Yes.
You could go to water that.
You
Or
could
indeed start some sort of Killer Instinct battle that will lead you eventually to Idol. Possibly one of the lamest bosses in video game histoire.
Oh, have you listened to anything else? That's all I've listened to.
Well then, you know what happens now.
What? Right. So it's marketing time again. Hello.
I love a bit of marketing.
Yes. So I have had a thought recently about how we can market an item we already sell to a new demographic. So
yes.
You know, previously, we were very, very anti the idea of girls being into transforming robot toys. It's very typically a male market.
Absolutely. Well, that's because we only marketed at them, and we are the ones that insisted on them gender segregating by a binary gender, by the way.
Indeed. So I have an idea of how we can start selling them to the ladies as well, you see.
Well.
So transforming robot toys,
Indeed.
they can hide themselves as anything, and
Absolutely.
when they transform into robots, they obviously, the fantasy is
They'll
protect you and save you and do all sorts of cool things. So
small meets the eye.
Indeed. So what I'm suggesting is we have transforming robot toys that transform into a handbag. Because obviously girls' handbags.
Handbag.
Yes. So
Princess crown.
exactly. So these sort of objects. And the idea is yes. So we sell them on the concept that if you buy one of our transforming robot toys, maybe men won't be dicks to you.
Hashtag not all men.
Hashtag not all men. Because maybe they'll be worried that if they mess with you, your handbag will turn into a robot and kill them. And maybe that'll be enough to stop men messing with them, and we sell them on this power fantasy, and that's how we sell them transforming robot toys.
Exactly. Question though,
Yes,
do
yes.
they work? Because, you know, if
no,
one happened to do a little bit of harassment here and there...
No. They'll turn into a toy that just looks like it could defend you. Well, still be all powerless.
That sounds terrible. Is there anything we can do about that? Perhaps fitting these new transforming toys with tasers?
You know, I can't think of any way that would backfire. Go on.
Absolutely.
Good
Tasers for all the children.
Yeah, that's it. Where am I?
Greetings, gentlemen. We have brought you here aboard our ship just to see how things are going.
What? This is an abduction?
Less an abduction, more a sort of checkup. I hear things have been pretty fucked on the Earth, so we're just bringing a few of you up here, seeing if you're all right, if there's anything we can do to help, or you know.
Well, everything's kind of fucked. Fascism is on the rise, which isn't great,
No.
and the economy is completely tanking. We're in late stage capitalism, where just everything is about draining money out of the poor and giving it to the pockets of the rich. Do you mind if I just live to a different planet with you? Are other planets doing better than this? Or is
Well-
everywhere as fucked as this?
No, this is exclusive to humanity, which is why we're strictly forbidden from actually taking you away from your home in case it sort of spreads further along. So,
Can you fix anything down here? Can you, give us the secret to destroying capitalism by any chance?
I could buy you lunch and some extra sandwiches. Things
Okay.
we weren't quite here to just lead a revolution, unfortunately.
Well, the extra sandwiches would be good. I really can't afford to stock the cupboards at the moment. You know, late stage capitalism.
Okay, well, here's a bunch of sandwiches, and we can arrange to restock all your cupboards with enough food to last you for a while.
Thanks.
I hope that helps, and good
Yeah.
luck fighting the fascism and the late-stage capitalism.
If you want to accidentally blow up fascism with some kind of anti-fascism ray gun, we wouldn't say no.
Glemlock, can we use the anti-fascism? That's a little bit too interfere, sorry. But enjoy the noodles.
Thanks.
Questions. Do you want to do some questions?
Let's do some questions. I don't know what they are, so they're gonna be news to me.
Okay, Andrew Meown would like to know, which game would you like a complete do-over, a complete memory wipe, and be able to experience over again from the beginning?
Ooh, good question there. It's got to be Beyond Good and Evil. I would very much love to be able to experience that for the first time again. What about you?
I'm torn. Either Day of the Tentacle,
Oh yeah.
because I had such a good time with that the first time, or Wind Waker.
Oh, Wind Waker's a good call.
Because it's one of those ones that's really easy to sit down with a notepad and paper and gather all the information from the fish and notes and stuff, and it's one that you sort of sit there and make good notes on yourself, and it's it was one that I was able to do without any walkthrough stuff.
Yeah.
Because I got everything that the game was trying to do, and there are some. I think there's a few bits in Twilight Princess that I really struggled with because I just didn't quite get it.
That's fair.
And I had to go, okay, let's have a look at the thing, and then I would look at the walkthrough and go, oh yeah, okay, I kind of get that.
One other one is the Zelda as well. Breath of the Wild.
Ooh.
Because I love that game, but I think that there is something special about it the first time you play it, in the whole exploring and finding out about this world for the first time,
Yeah.
and there's something that's never going to be quite the same another time I play that.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that would love to be able to go explore that world for the first time a second time.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the ones I thought about, especially with the all of the DLC being out now.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be quite nice to just go, okay, you've got the game, you've got the DLC, you can experience the whole thing, start to finish, completely brand new, and then obviously, I'm not sure where Ballad of the Champions actually unlocks, but...
It's kind of designed to be played after the Ganon fight.
Okay. Because I still haven't played it yet.
It makes a lot of sense to, like, at the very least, you need to do the 4 divine beasts first before Ballad of the Champions.
Okay, well, because like I started replaying Breath of the Wild just to try and go, well, I'll experience it in play, but if it's meant to be played afterwards, I might just bump back to my original save and play that. Yeah.
What are the quizzes we got?
Tricky would like to know, what is your favourite historical figure?
Ooh.
And what type of practical joke would you play on them if you had the chance?
Oh no!
I know, right?
I'm not going to play any practical joke on whoever my favourite historical figure is. They're nice.
Same.
Favourite historical figure? I don't have an answer on hand for this. Do you?
Sort of. It's a bit of a weird one. So one of my middle names is Eleanor, spelt in a particularly bizarre way. Or an uncommon way, certainly. It hasn't got an A in it for a start. Which is it's usually an Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Which I think is a bit weird. But it's Ellenor. And the famous historical person is Eleanor Fenn. She was doing alright by herself, which was a children's author, was sort of keen to educate youth and stuff. She did quite a lot for education, but also after her husband died was very much a sort of like, I'm going to do things with the money that I've got, and I'm going to try and help educate people and especially like young children, get them out of like poverty via education. And there's like a series of books that were she made and got published, and sort of over the years had managed to sort of sustain herself a bit more on that. And I believe she also did a decent amount for the suffrage movement as well, so more good stuff there.
I don't have an answer to hand, and at this point I'm like, that sounds like a good answer. You've won me over. She's now my favourite historical figure.
Lady Eleanor Fenn.
Indeed, I can't think of anyone with a better story than that off the top of my head.
Ooh.
What's the next question?
Jason Lee, best waffles, potato or Belgian? Waffles. Belgian or potato waffles?
I'm gonna say potato waffles are better because they are more of a staple anytime food that is easy to prepare.
You shouldn't staple waffles.
I think as great as a nice Belgian waffle is, it's a sometimes treat. It's a bit fiddly and awkward to make. You need special things to make it at home. It's, it's a lot of work goes into making a Belgian waffle. Whereas potato waffle, scrap one out the freezer, stick it in the toaster. There you go. There is some like big staple potato-y food that's delicious. You can just dip it in some ketchup. Done. There are many a kind of depression day that I got through because I I toasted some potato waffles. So, just for the staple role they played in keeping me alive for a while, potato waffles. You?
Belgian. I've been obsessed with Belgian waffles since I went to America. Because like that was like way back at the big sort of middle of the 90s.
Yeah.
Like went to America, Belgian waffles for breakfast pretty much every morning. Was like, this is brilliant. And then sort of coming back and going, I want waffles. Nowhere in the UK sold them. I was like, okay, well I'll look for a waffle iron. And I remember looking like very early 2000s. You just couldn't buy them in this country. You could get them imported from America, but most of them wouldn't work because of the power drain needed and the difference in wattage. Now you can buy them pretty much anywhere.
Well, here's the thing.
I had one.
Yeah, you can buy them now, but like I think part of why they're not my favourite is I don't think I will ever have a day where I'm like, I have the energy and the time to do that. I'm gonna sit and make myself Belgian waffles. I fucking love them when I have them. but I just don't have like the energy at the right time, like, and the desire to channel that energy into creating this delicious food.
I regularly used to wake up on a weekend morning and just go, you know what? Fucking waffles for breakfast.
How much is it to get a waffle iron? Can we make vegan Belgian waffles?
Yeah. This was only like last year that my waffle iron started blowing the power in my property.
Should we look into getting a waffle iron?
I don't know if that's a good idea. Because they're too easy to make.
Are they? In my head, they're really hard to make.
Yeah, I use the same recipe I use for making pancakes, which is like a cup of plain flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, teaspoon of vanilla essence, a dash of salt if you're into salt.
Not in a Belgian waffle, surely?
Yeah, people use it to enhance flavour. I don't add salt to anything, but I know it's one that's on that recipe that I originally looked up. And a cup of non-dairy milk.
Yeah.
Pro tip. Alpro vanilla is a really, really good one to make those with.
Oh, that does sound good.
Yeah, and you can use that recipe for making either like fluffy pancakes or waffles. Waffles! And I used to make them all the time. I made them like, maybe you were never there, but like when there was a bunch of us over there, I would often make waffles in the morning. We'd all have to sit there in a queue waiting for the last
I remember
person.
you making pancakes. I don't ever remember having waffles at yours.
Oh, perhaps not. But,
I don't think I ever had waffles.
Same recipe, so same flavour, but just waffly.
Delicioso.
Yeah, a bit of chocolate, bit of melted green and blacks over the top, and
yes,
then like a
please.
big dollop of Swedish glass.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
I know, right?
Mm.
Fucking waffles. Oomph.
Oh, we should make some pancakes sometime.
I will make you pancakes, darling.
Heck. What's the next question?
Next question. Xander wants to know what types of what phones we use.
I've got an iPhone SE.
I've got a OnePlus something 5T, I think it is.
Yeah, I like the iPhone ecosystem because it's a very closed ecosystem, so it's very hard to fuck up anything that you do with an iPhone. And I like their podcast app.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got tired of the Samsungs I've had over the last 2 phones that I had, and I decided to try a OnePlus because they seem alright, and they're less filled with bloaty shit than a lot of phones.
One of my first smartphones was a OnePlus one, and it was good.
Nice. OnePlus.
What else we got?
Joseph Adams wants to know, how would you define love? Is it something one feels or one has to work for?
I think it can be both. I think that like it is something. I think initially love is something you feel. But to maintain love, you do have to work for it. It's like the act of love is something that you have to sort of commit yourself to, I think. I don't know how better to answer this. It's a very complicated question.
Okay. My answer to this would be, love is a term applied quite broadly to very intense emotional bonds that you might have with another person, be that a romantic or platonic or just sort of general, like, and depending on which type of love you're talking about, it then expands even further. But if you're talking about romantic love, I think it's very much a case of love is best defined as like a beam of light bouncing perfectly between 2 perfectly aligned mirrors. Because while the 2 people are working together and are still interested in each other, you can bounce that light between each other forever. But as soon as you start, one starts to drift away, the light is lost, and it can take a lot to sort that out again. But then obviously you've also got like platonic love and with your family, and some people who might feel that they have shitty families and whatever else, but still might feel love for those people.
Yeah.
And then there is the love for other human beings, which is sometimes really fucking hard to hold together.
Yeah.
Because human beings are notoriously shitty to each other, especially at the moment.
Love is really complicated, because like I like your mirrors bouncing the light back and forth thing, But it's not always that, because sometimes it'll be like, it can be a one-sided thing. Like, you might be a child that loves a parent or a parent that loves a child, and that isn't being responded, but that doesn't mean you don't keep throwing it there.
Well, that's the Mirrors was very much about romantic love.
Yeah, there's a lot of types of love, but I think a lot of it is... I think you're right that it is a feeling of intense bond, and I think you have to recognise that bond and go, I want to keep strengthening and maintaining this bond.
And to keep it healthy, it's best if everyone involved in that love is
on the same page?
Or at least sending love in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Love's a weird thing. Love is a bunch of chemicals that make your brain go, I really like this one, and then you work to keep it that way.
Love is many splendid things.
Love is a bunch of chemicals, but it's good because they're happy ones.
Serotonin.
Serotonin!
Who is this serotonin you keep talking about? I've never seen her. Nor have I.
What's the next question?
Rikiva wants to know, what lantern would you be? Okay, some clarification. This was asked in the Discord. This was because you talked about allergically yellow in the last Inquisition.
Yeah, so
they've assumed that if you were a Green Lantern who is afraid of yellow, which I've not read Green Lantern, I can't answer this.
I'm not a big Green Lantern person, so I can't really answer this, but I can give the context for what happened. So, to make a long story short, I talked about this on Podquisition recently. When I was growing up, when I was like 6 years old, I told my teacher I was allergic to yellow. What I was trying to explain, with my limited vocabulary at the time, synesthesia. Sometimes people have senses that cross over in weird ways, like a certain shade of yellow would make my face go really hot and sour and dizzy and uncomfortable. And this got interpreted as, you're allergic to yellow, yellow weakens you and harms you. In the Green Lantern comics, the Green Lanterns their weakness is the colour yellow. And that is why I now that this correlation has been pointed out to me, I can only answer, yes, I'm a Green Lantern, because that's why I'm defeated by yellow.
Okay, I've not read Green Lantern, and the Green Lantern movie was so tragically bad that I haven't really soaked anything in about it.
Red Lanterns are angry all the time, I think.
Okay.
They're the angry lanterns.
I'd probably try and avoid being that.
There's some blue ones. I think blue is hope.
Oh, that could be good. I don't have a lot of that, so that's probably not the best option. Is there one for, like, slightly drop out old hippies? A sort of boho lantern.
Let's pick a colour. You are the tie-dye lantern.
Yay, I'm the tie-dye lantern. That's the best lantern.
Any other questions?
Daniel Schmucker would like to know, when you find a spider near your bed, what do?
Grab a glass, slide some paper under it to, hold it, and let it outside.
I am either a grab a glass, or sometimes I'll just pick it up in my hand very carefully.
Depends
on the size of the spider, how comfortable I am picking it up.
A tiny one I might on the hand, but usually it'll be a cup and paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Any other questions?
Jenny Artorius would like to know, what games are worth picking up for the Switch? Just finished Breath of the Wild, 7 out of 10. And started Hollow Knight.
We really enjoyed Xenoblade.
Yeah.
It's a good lengthy RPG we were very into.
Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey. It's a good platformer with lots of inventive stuff going on. I'm big into Battle Chef Brigade.
That looked fun.
It's a side-scrolling game with kind of two parts. Part of it is you're going into the wilderness to beat up monsters, collect resources, and the other part is basically like a Great British Bake Off, Iron Chef style. Take the ingredients that you've collected and then do like a match the gems thing to craft food in order to try and create the best meal possible in a dramatic time limit to progress an RPG story. It's a big save the world story about fighting monsters to get resources to cook delicious meals.
I'm desperately trying to remember what games I've played on Switch.
Pick up Fortnite, it's free. There's a lot of game in there for free.
Yeah, definitely worth a look.
The Port of Doom's pretty good.
I enjoyed Doom, yeah, I had a good time with Doom. I managed to finish that in 3 or 4 days, so I found it a little bit short. But there's a lot of replayability. There's more to go back to in that.
Yeah.
Sexy Brutal's on there.
Oh,
I hear
the
that's
Sexy
very
Brutal,
good.
yeah. I was very into Mario and Rabbids. If you're looking for a turn-based RPG, tactical RPG.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on there.
Yeah. That's a handful
Perhaps
of
I
stuff.
should have prepared more for this, but yes,
If I had my Switch up here, I would have checked my list of Switch games, and I could have probably recommended more.
And Jenny would like us to give a shout out to her girlfriend, her wonderful girlfriend, Olive. So there you go. Hi, Olive.
Hi, Olive.
Someone sent us a really cool picture of some urban exploration.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Can't see a question in there, so that's not a question. Let me just check the Discord again.
Checking the Discord. Who's got questions for us?
I don't know.
Nobody's got
No,
it.
I think that's it. I think that's everybody. Yep, with that's all the questions. So you know what happens now, right?
What happens now?
I think we go and see those gruff boys, them Brocial Justice Warriors. Do you want to know what I see?
What you wanna see?
Brocial Justice Warriors! Alright, Harry. Alright, Harry, how's it going?
It's going alright, How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. You've been up to much this week?
Oh, there was a bit of a fight going on my Facebook wall the other day.
Yeah.
I just want to bring it up. So, I got in one of these arguments where, occasionally you see members of press minority groups who will make, a little bit generalised statements, but, frustrated statements that are generally, aimed at groups that have societal power over them.
Yeah.
You might be like, ugh, men, when, one particular man's done something a bit shitty, for example.
And,
Yeah.
you have had a systematic issue with men throughout your
Indeed.
lifetime.
And this one particular man just, happens to stand in, it's not because that one act is representative of all men, it reminds me of the systematic oppression that men as a group have perhaps, committed.
Or perhaps, within that person's own personal experience, that it does seem that it is most generally that is the case.
Yeah. So, you had one of those situations, and, cis straight white guy comes on Facebook and just starts going, oh, well, not all men, and maybe there's some explanation, and, just trying to explain it all away. And
a lot of what-ifing there.
A lot of what-ifing. And I think, my general point was, I get really annoyed when I see members of privileged groups try and equate being angry, oppressed minorities being angry at the group that holds societal power over them as being just as bad as, being oppressed by a group with more power over you. It's basically saying, cis people is the same, it's just saying that it's just as bad as oppressing trans people for who they are. And it annoys me when when people try and compare those as being the same thing.
Yeah, it's just certainly a case of false equivalence there.
Yeah.
And then they do tend to just drag on and bring up what-ifs and hypothetical straw men and ridiculousness. When basically what they should be going is, yes, you're right, that is shitty behaviour and perhaps we should do more to do it. Especially if you then jump in on midway through that thing and are asked to be educated or demand even to be educated to a group of people that are largely having to spend an awful lot of time explaining themselves to people who don't claim to be friends in the first place.
Yeah. I don't even know if I've got much more to add to it than that. It's just, it's generally just really annoying when, exasperations and frustration at a lack of societal power are seen as, oh, well, if you get annoyed about about being an oppressed minority, then you got annoyed. That's the reason for us not to give you rights.
Yeah, let's not call any of that cis bashing or any of that ridiculousness.
No,
it's understandable that you get, for example, trans people who get frustrated and upset and will, share a down with the cis or fuck the system sort of posts, and that is largely for trans people to share between them. if a cis person happens to see that and see that as, "Ooh, I'm being attacked now," like we're not there. No one is there to like check on how you're feeling about the fact that we're frustrated, or that group is frustrated about the fact that they're being oppressed.
Exactly. It's like when someone says down with the cis, for example, what they're not saying is, you, individual cis person, down with you. What they're saying is, hey, I'm annoyed that societally cisgender people have control over whether or not I'm allowed to have rights and are at this current time preventing me from having widely accepted rights. And as such, down with the power structure that here is represented by cis people who denies me my basic rights whilst also going like, don't get too mad about not having rights, or that's an excuse to not give you rights. You know, it's cis in that case is an example term to basically stand in for people who have the power to do something about my oppression but just don't really care.
It is a pejorative, and just like the Me Too movement's response, we're not necessarily saying all men, but enough men that it is a problem, or enough cis people that it is a problem.
Exactly, enough people of that group need to be doing better. Yeah. As a group.
And don't get me wrong, you know, I will sometimes make the effort with friends and stuff to try and get things when I genuinely believe that they don't come from a bad place. That sometimes they are just, you know, they've done things that aren't quite woke.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a good chat. I think chat.
Yeah. Thank you very much, as ever.
Always love it, Jack.
I'm going to pop some food on. Do you want a burger?
I love a burger. Should we have some of them sweet potato fries?
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Nice.
So, with that all in mind, all those social justice-y issues, where can we find you on the Hindi net?
Me? You can find me at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Laura K. Buzz on YouTube. You can find me on Podquisition. You can find me on Kotaku UK Monday to Friday 9 to 5. You can find me on Dice Funk Seasons 3 and 4. Every season is a self-contained story. Season 4 that's going on at the moment is about the overthrow of capitalism. I don't turn up till like 8 episodes into Season 3, so if you start Season 3 and wondering why I'm not there, that's why. I was about to say you can find me on a podcast called Queer and Pleasant Strangers. I was about to tell people about. That's where we're at.
That's us.
What about you? Where are you?
I can be found here, in the house, cuddling you.
Oh.
I can be found on Maniac Janiac on Twitter and YouTube, where I will hopefully be doing more stream. I can be found on Twitch as twitch.tv/Janiac. That's JANEIAC. And I can be found on stonemonkeyradio.blog and SoundCloud as JNRS Magnet, where you might be listening to this.
Woo! And with that all said, until next time, be a stranger.